level, you got a guy, Sergey Derevyanchenko, who's not afraid to mix it up, but also retains that amateur background, that pedigree. Wow, wow, as the great John Anik would say, one more sleep until we get what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting. And sometimes body type will, in fact, tell you how their styles will go, right? You have the lankier, sort of bigger frame in Charlo. That's not necessarily the case for the lankier Brandon Figueroa. He is quite rangy. He is quite long for 122 pounds, but yet he's a body puncher in strong degree, a volume puncher, and likes to kind of get on the inside. What are we expecting from that young riser?
He gives up the height advantage. He's got the movie star looks, the matinee idol, but he mixes it up, as you mentioned. Look, this is a strong double undercard. We're looking at 4 fights, showcasing the smaller weight classes. 3 of those look at 122 pounds, super bantamweight. Brandon Figueroa comes in here as a champion, fresh off an exciting draw with Julio Ceja last year that was all action all the time, because that's the only way Brandon Figueroa knows how. We'll be in there against Damian Vasquez, the guy who can get inside and outside. Talk about family ties here. Brandon Figueroa, the younger brother of former lightweight champion Omar Figueroa. How about Damian Vasquez, the very younger brother of the great Israel Vasquez? When you talk about the great fights in Showtime history, Marquez Vasquez 1, 2, and 3, in front of our lips right there. You know what Vasquez said on Wednesday? This will be the fight of the night, brother.
It's certainly, he had the most intensity at Wednesday's presser, so keep that in mind. And there is sort of one more fight in the first card, that being the only fight that's not counting the Charlos, that's also not at 122 pounds. John Rayo Casimiro taking on Duke Micah. Both of these fighters, I believe, it's hard to verify one of the fighters' records, but both of them, we believe, making their U.S. debut. Casimiro, the champion here. Duke Micah, Casimiro, what can we expect between these two?
Well, look, I don't try to stereotype nations, but you tell me I'm going to get a great championship-level fight between a guy from the Philippines and Casimiro, just the 4th fighter in Filipino boxing history to win titles in 3 weight divisions, against somebody from the great city of Accra, Ghana. We're talking about Azuma Nelson. We're talking about Ike Corte, Josh Plotty, and more. That's Duke Micah. He's unbeaten. And what I love most about this matchup, Luke, for that bantamweight world title is this. Casimiro is always a late starter. Doesn't really throw enough punches, throws power shots, tends to fall behind on the scorecards, but he rallies spectacularly. He's won 14 fights in a row, and we don't know yet whether unbeaten Duke Micah, the former Ghanaian Olympian, looking to become the 10th fighter of Ghanaian birth to win a world title. Can he go deep if the fight gets there? Look out for that. We're going to see action. We're going to see violence. That's why you pay the price. That's why you sit on the sofa and get ready for this.
And by the way, Duke Micah, the average fight length for him is 5.5 rounds. So he might dominate early. The question is, can he do that late? We go to the other of the Charlo cards. By the way, there'll be an intermission on the pay-per-view broadcast where he and I will be blabbering at you.
Morning combat in your face right there.
After that goes the second of the 2 Charlo cards, Jermell Charlo, trying to unify 154-pound titles against Jason Rosario.
Let me flip this on you for a second, because
Please
we know
do.
that 154 super welterweight, the deepest division in the sport. I'm not going to use names like Lara, J-Rock, Jarrett Hurd, etc. True or false, with 3 world titles at stake, is the winner of Saturday's Jermell Charlo Jason Rosario fight the man at junior middleweight?
You would have to be, right? You would have 3 of the 4 titles, plus this is an interesting spot for Jermell. Jermell is of the 2 brothers, the one who is regarded as maybe the more technically superior one, the one who got certainly the earlier start in the big times with Golden Boy Promotions before his brother, and as you indicated, is a bit of this deeper weight class. And the titles have been playing, at least for the ones that Jason Rosario has, the IBA and I think the WBA, bit of hot potato. But this, for him to put those together with his WBC title, wow, you got to be like, wow, this is the guy who is bringing stability to this division. This is the guy who is showing you, I'm planting the flag. This is my territory. And so I think he's got a bit of an easier job relative to his brother, because Rosario, to me, is a bit of a wild card where his upper bound limit is very high, but his consistent ability to show that upper bound limit is very much unknown. So I like his chances to do that. But this is only the 8th fight at 154 pounds ever where there's been a unifying opportunity, all of them really happening in the last 25 years. Not just an interesting fight or a big moment for either guy, some boxing history on the line here as well.
Let's talk about that co-main event of the second pay-per-view card this evening, right? 7 p.m. Eastern, you get the first one after the intermission. How about Luis Neri, the hard-hitting southpaw from Mexico? He's back up at 122. The power is there with him. What do you like entering this fight here against unbeaten Aaron Alameda for the vacant title?
I think the whole story here has to be that Neri has absolutely ungodly power. And he has power at a weight class that guys are traditionally not necessarily known for being the biggest punchers. Everyone's like, oh, at heavyweight, everyone has big power. It's generally true. There's varying degrees of it. Wilder seems to be better than a lot of his contemporaries, but you get the idea. At 120, 118 pounds, these guys are not necessarily known as jawbreakers. Well, Neary is. He is certainly top 5, maybe top 10 in boxing for pound-for-pound record-breaking power. I think you marry that with actually some underrated overall boxing skills, and Alameda has in his hand and maybe his jaw.
Yeah, great beard for Luis Nery, by the way. You're a beard aficionado.
No mustache. That means business.
The only fight that's not for a world title might be the best actual matchup. Former champions Juan Carlos Payano and maybe boxing's best kept secret, Daniel Roman, who's fresh off losing the unification fight, split decision loss.
Yeah, we'll have to get to them a little bit later. Let's now go to the weigh-ins, get them started with the classic Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you, and we welcome you to the Mohegan Sun here in Uncasville.
Let's go. Weigh-in, Showtime, Charlo doubleheader. You know what it is. World Combat Sports bringing it to you this Friday.
And it's all brought to you by Lions Only Promotions, along with TGB Promotions and Showtime. Sponsored by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest.
Wow, they sponsored by Proper 12.
Liquid gold in the world. Well, fans,
Kano in the building. Salute, man.
Boxing extravaganza. 5 world title fights featured. 1 world title eliminator, 72 rounds of boxing scheduled. 8 of our fighters on the card are former or current world champions. 6 fighters are undefeated. Truly a tremendous night of action coming your way tomorrow night, once again on pay-per-view. We open up our event tomorrow night and our weigh-in today with the WBO Bantamweight Championship of the World. We welcome our fighters to the stage at this time. First, introducing the challenger, undefeated at 24-0 with 19 knockouts. From Accra, Ghana, please welcome, here is Duke Micah. And now we invite the world champion to the stage at this time, defending champion, making his Showtime debut. 3-division world champion from the Philippines. Here is John Riel Casimero.
Been waiting for Casimero to step on deck. Tough Filipino fighter. You know he's going to bring it.
And we're ready to bring our fighters to the scale at this time. The WBO Bantamweight Championship of the World. 118 pounds is the weight limit. Once again, first, here is the challenger, hard-hitting, world-ranked, undefeated challenger, Duke Micah.
This continued at 118 bantamweight.
$117.25 pounds for the challenger, Duke Micah. 117.25 pounds. And now to the scale at this time, making the first.
Ritual for life. What's good?
He's a 3-division
Salute to you, bro.
Champion, the current WBO Bantamweight Champion of the World, John Riel Casimero.
And the only reason you don't see him and Anui, trying to unify because of money issues.
117.75 pounds for the champion. 117.75 pounds.
He is the WBO Bantamweight champion.
Casimero.
We're going to get a good look at, the size difference when it comes to Derevyanchenko and Charlo, and also, the how equal in size Jason Rosario and Jamel Charlo.
For the WBO Bantamweight Championship of the World, John Riel Casimero versus Duke Micah. It opens up our tremendous night of pay-per-view boxing tomorrow night.
Casimero ain't no joke, though.
If this fight is the opener, Luke, which it is to the evening, get your popcorn ready.
I've got some dirty laundry. You think I can wash it on Duke Micah's stomach there? Jesus Christ.
Both fighters fit. Both fighters under the 118 title limit at bantamweight.
Yep.
This one has great potential, as we mentioned. Casimero, better late, right? As this fight goes on, 6 KOs 10th round or later.
That's crazy. And again, for Micah, usually averaging around a 6-round kind of fight. So it's going to be very interesting to see if A, he can put it on Casemiro, and then if he does, to what extent is Casemiro able to rally? Again, there's a lot of contingencies. We don't know if they'll happen, but it's worth it.
Micah now fights out of Brooklyn, trained by Andre Rosario. We've seen him in the corner of Derevyanchenko, of Danny Jacobs. But if you want to know,
Shout out to Luke Thomas and his castmate. You know,
okay, great nickname as the
being promoted up to Showtime in a sport which Luke Thomas really didn't report on previously. But I guess they had to, you know, learn on the job, so to speak, and do some behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of producers' notes, which they go by. But I like Luke Thomas, man, on how he used to break down mixed martial arts a lot, and just you know, current topics and everything when it comes to sports. I think this duo right here is pretty solid for Showtime. Real talk, especially when it comes to sports. Now, I'll tell you this. I think Luke is going to be a little less political, you know. This will all go down tomorrow night, people, via PBC Showtime, PPV. So you got to make a decision. You know, you're gonna come out the pocket, have your girl pay for it, go out here and turn some flips, you know, and do some dancing on the sidewalk. Go to the casino.
Here we go. Our next world title attraction, the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World, presented by Premier Boxing Champions. First, please welcome to the stage at this time the challenger. With a record of 15-1, the world ranked contender, here is Damian Sugar Vasquez.
Shout out to Jimmy Lennon Jr. Cool cat. I'm sitting in the New York high rise doing a live on Fight Week, and Jimmy Lennon walks in and puts something in the refrigerator in the
Brandon, the Heartbreaker Figueroa.
a room that's for board meetings room or whatever. I was just sitting there chilling, looking at the.
All right, fans, we're ready to bring our fighters to the scale at this time. The WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World weight limit is 122.
Enjoying the weather, and Jimmy Lennon dropped in, put something in the fridge, and then hopped on my live, man. You know what I'm saying? Cool people.
121.5 pounds for the challenger, 121.5 for Damian Sugar Vasquez.
Damian Sugar Vasquez.
20 wins, no losses, and 1 draw. Making his Showtime debut, the undefeated WBA Super Bantamweight Champion of the World, Brandon the Heartbreaker Figueroa. £122, right at the limit for the champion, Brandon Figueroa. 122 pounds.
Brandon Figueroa, the younger brother, Omar Figueroa. You know, the last fight I seen him at, I felt he lost. I'm pretty sure he's made adjustments, but I'm still not sold on Figueroa's. You know, he can box, but it's just certain situations that I feel if he's put in, you know, he may take that first loss. I don't see him as being overly impressive in his boxing skills, to be honest. I don't like using the cliche pretty boy and all that. He went in there and took some punishment, but I think it's only a matter of time before he loses his title, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing, WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World, sponsored by Proper.
His defense was, you know, sucked to me.
Finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world.
Look, we talk about what's at stake in this fight. You look no further than, as we mentioned, three of the on this loaded double undercard. Three of the fights in the 122-pound division. Two of them title fights. The third against two former champions. But Luis Neri, the rising star who we're going to see get on the scale, he's using words like, "If I win this fight, I want to fight Brandon Figueroa. I want to unify titles." So there's no shortage of big
Man,
out of nowhere.
Neri,
122. Look, it had long.
In my opinion, will destroy Figueroa.
From overseas had dominated. You didn't see a lot of these fights on American television unless you had the big stars propping up, the Pacquiao's, Barreras, Marquez, Morales, etc. Now we've got Stephen Fulton Jr., Showtime regular. We saw Angelo Leo win the title on Showtime just last month. You're starting to put together some names here. Brandon Figueroa wants to be with those names, wants to unify titles, wants to become a star. He's got the look. He's got the fun style. Our friends at CompuBox remind us, they provide the show stats, that Figueroa already owns the 122-pound record for most punches attempted in one round, and he doubles the division average, throwing just over 100 punches every single
And part of the reason he's able to do that is because he's not extending his full range. Right? If you're a lot closer, you can rip them with shorter distance of travel on the punch. The one thing I think is deserving of mention here is
Premier Boxing Champions presents the first of our world title main events of the evening, brought to you by Lions Only Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Showtime, sponsored by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world. Well, fans, this main event is scheduled 12 rounds. It is for the WBC middleweight world title. First, we invite
Going online, killer. Salute.
to the stage at this time, and we start with the challenger. Fighting out of Brooklyn by way of Ukraine, former Olympian, current #1 ranked contender. Here is Sergey, the technician, Derevyanchenko.
Sergey Derevyanchenko on deck. More undersized than what I thought, going in there against Charlo.
And now his opponent to the stage with a record of 30 wins, no losses. 22 wins coming by way of knockout. One of the sensational twin world champions from Houston, Texas, the WBC middleweight champion of the world, Jamal Hitman Charlo. Well, the fighters are ready. Let's bring them to the scale at this time. WBC middleweight championship of the world. Weight limit is 160 pounds. First, with a record of 13 wins, 2 losses. 10 of his wins coming by way of knockout. He's the hard-hitting #1 ranked challenger, Sergey, the technician, Derevyanchenko. $159.5 pounds for the challenger, Derevyanchenko, 159.5. And now the two-division world champion, making the third defense of his current title, the hard-hitting, reigning and defending WBC middleweight champion of the world, Jamal Hitman Charlo. $159.75 pounds for Jamal Charlo. 159.75 pounds. We have a fight. It's for the WBC middleweight championship of the world.
No shenanigans here, Luke. We're on weight. We're ready for action. You can see the size difference between them. I think, as always, you can see that intense look in the Charlo's eyes. This time it's Jamal. They don't suffer any fools. They don't care about they don't care about where you're from, your resume, what you've been talking about. They come in there to knock you out. And that's the calling card.
He was doing the applause bit that you would do on a basketball court when you're taunting someone. When Derevyanchenko got on the scales, I mean, the Charlo brothers, I'm telling you, it really depends on one's perspective, but I love their intensity and what they bring to the fight. As you can see here, noticeably taller. Although, I will say, I have to look at the reach to be sure of this, but Derevyanchenko has a pretty good reach as well.
Derevyanchenko has some pretty long arms himself.
Relative to Derevyanchenko. He's going to need that. He's going to need to use every part of that.
You need to use that jab and extend on those punches. You know Derevyanchenko loves to get inside on you.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, the best fighting the best for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World, the undefeated world champion, Jamal Charlo, taking on the #1 contender, Sergey Derevyanchenko.
Look, here's what I love about Jamal.
Let me say something very quickly, if I may. In fairness to Derevyanchenko, he looks phenomenal.
Jamal Charlo reaches 73 inches. 6 feet tall, 73 inches, y'all. His reach is 73 inches. That's not anything, incredible.
We frame the narrative here, which I do believe in, that this is Jamal Charlo's toughest test to date, really in either division.
Derevyanchenko is noted at 5'9", reach 67.5 inches.
Top to bottom, he says, you can say that all you want. I've had some tougher fights, inside the ring, in training camp. I already know right now what you guys are trying to find out, that I'm the best middleweight in the world. Right. And certainly from the eye test, it is hard to deny that, but you can't pass go, right? Until you pay the fee, until you earn it inside the ring, which really put all the fight aside, lines only, all that stuff aside. That's why we're here. This is, as much a showcase of the Charlos as a referendum to find out who Jamal is, and to see Sergey Derevyanchenko looking that good, ready. Look, what about the mindset when you've been there twice? You're 34. This may be the last time.
We'll talk about that here in a bit.
Shaquita, how you doing? Good morning.
All right, fans, here we go. We continue with our weigh-in. Premier Boxing Champions presents the official weigh-in for a world title eliminator and a showdown, and opens up our part 2 of our pay-per-view extravaganza. And this bout is brought to you in association with Thompson Boxing Promotions, and sponsored once again by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the smoothest, the tastiest liquid gold in the world. Well, here we go. Let's bring our fighters to the stage at this time. First, fighting out of Miami by way of the Dominican Republic, the former bantamweight champion of the world, Juan Carlos Payano.
Carlos Payano been in there with some pretty decent names, He hasn't always come out on top, but, he has that experience.
And now we invite his opponent to the stage at this time, fighting out of Los Angeles, the former unified 122-pound champion of the world, Danny, the baby-faced assassin, Roman.
Danny Roman back in the building.
All right, let's bring our fighters to the scale at this time. Weight limit on this fight is 122 pounds. It is for the WBC Super Bantamweight World Title Eliminator. First, with a record of 21 wins, 3 losses, 9 wins, coming by way of knockout. Here is the crafty southpaw contender, former world champion Juan Carlos Payano. £121.5 pounds, 121.5 pounds for Juan Carlos Payano. And his opponent holds a record of 27 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, with 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Currently ranked the WBC and WBA #3 world contender. Here is the former world champion, Danny, the baby-faced assassin, Roman. Danny Roman weighs in at a ready 121.25 pounds, 121.25 pounds.
D Hodge is in the building. Salute, man. This should be fireworks.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's a showdown for the WBC Super Bantamweight World Title Eliminator. A final eliminator winner faces the world champion. There they are, Danny Roman, Juan Carlos Payano.
Quick note, Brian Campbell, if I can. Juan Carlos Payano has a win over Damian Vasquez on the other card. Also, true or false, Daniel Roman, of all of the 122 pounders on this card, is the most elite.
most accomplished. Had 2 world titles, had unified them, lost them in an absolutely great split decision fight against Damalia earlier this year. And this is maybe getting the smallest amount of fanfare of the 6 fights on this card. It's maybe the most evenly matched, the best possible fight. Payano has only fought killers throughout his career, and Roman maybe doesn't always get the attention he deserves as one of boxing's best kept secrets.
And it's saying, actually, at the presser, the media had asked him, "Don't you want to fight in a way that preserves your health more over the long term?" And his answer was, "No, I want to fight the way that I know how to fight."
And you continue to get stressed out.
If that means blood and guts, then that means blood and guts. That's an interesting choice to make, I think.
That's a winning attitude. That's what he has to do.
It's in the short run, anyway. Certainly a winning attitude, and we appreciate fighters like that. It sort of took me by surprise. You often don't hear them admit that. They always kind of want to hedge their bets a little bit. But you're right. This is the one that I think folks are overlooking a little bit. You've got established veteran talent with elite talent mixing together. That stands for something pretty good. Let's go back to the classic people.
All right, fans, here we go. Premier Boxing Champions presents our next world title attraction in this, our official weigh-in. Brought to you in association with with Zenford Promotions, and it is sponsored by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the smoothest, the tastiest,
The finest, the smoothest, the tastiest.
To the stage at this time, with a record of 25 wins, no losses, 13 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Undefeated number 6 ranked contender, the challenger from Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. Here is Aaron Alameda. And his opponent to the stage at this time in this vacant world title attraction. His record, an outstanding one at 30 wins, no losses, 24 wins coming by way of knockout. From Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico, here is the former WBC bantamweight champion of the world, Luis
Syndicate J, what's good? Salute to you, man. Natty is no joke, man.
Well, fans, once again, this is for the vacant WBC Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. The weight limit is 122 pounds. First introducing to the scale, making his first attempt at a world title, the undefeated world contender, Aaron Alameda. £121.5 pounds, 121.5 pounds for.
Connor, what you think about this fight? Alameda, Neri.
And now his opponent, the former bantamweight world champion, currently ranked the WBC #1 contender, the hard-hitting and undefeated Luis Pantera Neri. £121.5 pounds, 121.5 pounds for the undefeated Luis Pantera Neri.
Everybody balancing the scales nicely today.
And with all of our fights tomorrow night on our pay-per-view extravaganza, sponsored by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, for the vacant WBC Super Bantamweight Championship of the World.
Luke, we've talked maybe short of the Charlo brothers, which name on this card may be the one we're talking about most Sunday morning, maybe the one that has the chance to impress us the most. Aaron Almeida is undefeated. He's a tough out for Mexico there. But Luis Neri, the southpaw for Mexico as well that you just saw there, I mean, you put together a sizzle reel of his greatest hits. It's among the best in the sport.
He walks around with the kind of confidence that he knows. He puts one on the chin. It's night-night. He just seems to understand. I don't have to land too many of these before you begin to have problems, either unconsciousness or some other kind of fight or round-altering moment. Don't you notice that? Like he has this cock of the walk kind of attitude,
it's
right?
The hit factor. You know, he knows what's behind that left hand. He's been here before. He was a terror at 118 pounds. Sent many top-level fighters. The 2 knockouts over Shinsuke Yamanaka. Great stuff. We'll go back to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
All right, fans, here we go from the Mohegan Sun. Here in Uncasville, Connecticut, Premier Boxing Champions presents the second of our featured attraction. Brought to you by Lions Only Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Showtime. Sponsored by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey, the finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world. This bout coming up into the stage, once again, is our second main event of the evening. It is presented in association with Samson Boxing. Let's bring our fighters to the stage at this time. It is for the unified 154-pound championship of the world. We present first, fighting out of Miami by way of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. His record, 20 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the defending WBA and IBF 154-pound champion of the world, Jason Banana Rosario.
Banana in the building.
And his opponent, also a world champion, of course.
You're going to see him and Mel Charlo match up nice when it comes to height, size.
With a record of 33 wins, 1 loss. He has 17 wins coming by way of knockout and having avenged his only loss. He was the 2-time and current WBC super welterweight champion of the world, Jermell Iron Man Charlo.
So Jermell Charlo reach is 73 inches, and he stands at 5'11".
Let's bring them to the scale at this time. The Unified Championship 154-pound weight limit. First here is
Jason Rosario weighs in an equal height to 5'11", a little bit less than reach 70 inches. These are not totally accurate.
Champion of the world, Jason Banana Rosario.
He looks in great shape. 8-pack going on.
53.5 pounds, 153.5 pounds for Jason Rosario.
These fighters are coming in balanced today.
Now his opponent, here is the 2-time current reigning and defending WBC super welterweight champion of the world,
Jermell Charlo on deck.
Iron Man Charlo.
Charlo looking great shape. Both fighters took the conditioning and cardio serious, cut weight.
153 3/4
Coming in under the limit. Professional.
153 3/4 pounds. We have a fight. It is our second main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the unified 154-pound championship of the world.
We have a fight. We have a double header. We have a PPV extravaganza popping off tomorrow. It's all about what you're trying to do. Showtime or UFC in Abu Dhabi. Height-wise, they're pretty much equaled out. You know, they both supposed to be at 5'11". Both are in great shape. This is going to be the fight.
At 154 pounds, Jermell Iron Man Charlo.
This is going to be the fight, man.
Jason Banana Rosario.
Man, I just wish it was a little bit. I wish when pandemic wasn't here and they can face off for real. We can get that Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo energy. You know?
I have to say, the Charlo brothers, they are athletes. They are absolute athletes. Are they not?
Yeah, I'll have what he's having in terms of intensity. You saw that glare in the eye. Looks great on the scale. Hey, all 12 fighters for Saturday night's card are in.
You could never catch chickens before they've hatched.
Let's see what happens there. Here's what I love most, though, about this Jermell Charlo, Jason Rosario fight. 3 of the 4 world titles at 154 at stake. Banana, he's playing with house money, and he knows it, Luke. He knows that. As you so eloquently said this week, he's not supposed to be here. He's not the favorite in this fight, even though he's coming in with 2 belts. If the confidence is unwavering, he knows essentially he's got a giant puncher's chance, not a regular puncher's chance, a giant puncher's chance, and he's going to live and die by that right hand.
Yeah, what's so funny about that, though, is what he's up against are two Charlo brothers, right? In the sense that those two share this energy.
Unified champion, Jason Rosario.
Obviously, he has to fight one of them, but what I mean is these guys, both of them, feed off this idea that they have a chip on their shoulder, that they still have something to prove.
WBC versus the IBF.
When Jermell weighed in, they are out to
the IBF and the WBA champion.
If you don't, They're out to make you remember them.
Unified championship fight.
They're out to just leave an impression. So Rosario, you're right. He's got all of this sort of flexibility, as it were. But the Charlos don't, and they know it, and they're really, really chomping at the bit to make an impression on Saturday night.
Two different fighting styles in this one, two different attitudes coming in. It's why we see these fights, as you also see Jermall Charlo and Sergey Derevyanchenko staring off once again. Hard to pick what fighter you're most looking for.
Derevyanchenko arms look, longer, when they standing, as far as the face off or whatever. But he is the much shorter fighter. But it seems like he has long arms. So you really can't go by these numbers on BoxRec, man.
All four of the fighters in both main events. Remember, a doubleheader, 2 cards.
Charlo didn't shake his hand. Charlo didn't do shit. Jamal Charlo said, "I ain't giving you dap. I ain't shaking your hand. I ain't saying shit." Charlo's, man, they all about business today. Then they go the hazmat crew. The hazmat crew, goddamn, go in there and spray down the stage, boy. They got a job to do. For real, the hazmat on deck. Hazmat team up.
But it's Jermell and Jason Rosario that there's almost this romantic notion, because it's going to be violent, it's going to be action. What Jason Rosario does best,
that is over.
Is, as he says, get into a war.
And of course, I'm trying to change over and see can I catch the weigh-ins for the UFC.
The best way to do that is to try to lock him down and be aggressive. So there's that explosive factor. There's that whole, again, romantic notion that maybe Jason Rosario, is still feeling himself. Still, it's figuring out. I mean, it's one thing to try to say, well, I never had a real training camp until my last one in January. Yet we've seen fighters that are recognized so early by promoters. Maybe, they've had Olympic greatness, or there's just been
I'm going to remove this.
Advantages on the way up, training camps, trainers, recovery, all that. Maybe for Jason Rosario, who's had a short career at taking whatever fight was available on last-minute notice, like any of us, okay? You clean this up a little bit, right? You'll find out how great you can be. We still don't know that. So I expect action in that fight, and I also expect a guy with nothing to lose going in there against maybe the deepest division in the sport's best fighter in Jermell Charlo, and the winner will be the power player. The winner will have that phone ringing off.
So give me a moment.
Proven in the UFC's lightweight division. All right, next fighter to the scale of the UFC's light heavyweight division, Danilo Marquez.
Just want to give you a little dabble into the UFC 253 weigh-in.
.206, the official weight for Danilo Marquez.
And this is in Abu Dhabi. Yes, Alan. So if you're saying to yourself, well, if they're not fighting tomorrow, well, you have to look at the time difference. They actually get damn near a whole day off for weigh-ins, and they're gonna fight Sunday morning. So that's the good thing about fighting over there on Fight Island. You have so much time to recover, chill, relax, but you have to get up in the morning. You have to get up early in the morning and fight. But yet we'll be able to watch it here in the evening.
Israel Adesanya, the best middleweight on planet Earth. He's cleaning his division out. I want to take out everyone. So when it's all said and done, they'll be like, he's the one. He's the greatest of all time. I ain't trying to bring you down, for real. You might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. £150 for Sugera Taruga, 4 pounds over the featherweight limit.
Well, Ugov is 4 pounds over the featherweight limit, so somebody didn't handle the trip well. I'm not sure when he was on deck when he landed, but he has a certain amount of time to go lose that weight, else he'll be fined. And he's a featherweight, so featherweight, the weight limit is 145. He's 5 pounds over. That's big time. That's big. So they might give him 2 or whatever. They might give him 2. I don't know what they're doing. Sometimes they give him 2. So I mean, he have to lose 3. It all depends.
$156, the official weight for Alex De Silva.
Alex De Silva, 156. That means he'll be contending at the lightweight division, which is balanced out at 155.
All right, next fighter to the scale getting set for his 32nd UFC appearance. Mixed martial arts royalty, Diego Nightmare Sanchez.
Shout out to Diego Nightmare Sanchez. Had the opportunity to meet him when I was on the West Coast. Very cool cat, man. Talented as hell. One of the legends of one of the legends and pioneers of the UFC, really. He's at a point right now in his career where he's trying to make another run. He's trying to stay relevant. He's trying to get a win. You know what I'm saying? He has absolutely had some of the more entertaining fights in his career, but
I want my chance to prove I am the champion. I will be waiting for Adesanya, the skinny claw.
Paulo Costa.
I got this overly inflated balloon animal. This heavy ass Ricky Martin wannabe. You better not step in it, but this is my octagon.
He said this heavy ass Ricky Martin wannabe. I ain't never seen Ricky Martin throw a punch.
Trust me, when I'm done with him, he'll really
Living a vida loca inside.
I guarantee it. I absolutely positively guarantee it.
Living la vida loca.
He's going to throw big shots. He will not stop punching. And Israel Adesanya is going to have to fight him.
This is a
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Living la vida loca.
Which Costa fights is going to give anybody problems. He's an enormous, terrifying, fast middleweight. This is a knockout artist who throws.
It's just amazing how this dude he gets so big in between fights, man. Seriously.
He's so skinny. When he feels
Diego, man, I just hope you don't overstay your residence in combat fight, man. I just hope he doesn't overstay his competitive residence and know when to bounce. He's been in some tough fights, some wars, man. Diego is all about the heart. You know, it's no question in that. Courageous like none other.
All right, next up in the UFC's bantamweight division, currently ranked number 7 in the world, she is Kathleen Vieira. .136, the official weight for Kathleen Vieira.
She balanced out at 136. That means she's contending in the bantamweight division, which is scaled at 135. Give or take, you know, on this weigh-in 1 or 2 pounds for the travel or whatever they're doing over there. They might, you know, have gave provisions on the weight. 1.5 over 2.
And her opponent, number 13 in the world at present, Sajara Eubanks.
Shouts to Sajara Eubanks. She's still trying to, once again, stay on the winning track, improve her fight game. She's been in some battles too, man, but the division she's in, she still has a lot of development to do. It's not because she don't have any heart and she can't fight. Sometimes it comes down to cage IQ too. Some of these women, yeah, she comes in, she's a big girl. So, you know, when it comes down to it, yeah, she might be overweight, you know, some of this time because that's some of these girls don't want to move up. And you know what I mean. Watch.
Choosing Scala as our natural gas provider means no more hibernating. Now we stay warm all winter. We feel right at home with our 30.
So she's stripping down all the way butt naked. She's trying to soak in. I mean, she's trying to deplete every ounce of extra weight.
136, the official weight for stars.
So she checks in at 136. And she's in a tough division, as we already know, because Amanda Nunes, as long as she's champion up here, I don't see Shakara Eubanks, you know, becoming the champion unless it's an interim champion or something like that. But I don't see her defeating Amanda Nunes while Amanda Nunes is active as a champion in 2 divisions, I might say. 135 bantamweight and 145 featherweight. Shakara is a tough fighter, though. She'll bang it out. But sometimes when she banging, she should be, you know, just keeping a distance and striking and switching it up from the outside. Everything doesn't have to be a war just to appease the fans. You know what I'm saying? But in the women, you know, sometimes in the women's divisions, they seem like they have to do that. Some of them, not all of them, some of them, they feel they have to go in there and get a fan something that they didn't think was happening. They have to go in there and make it a damn all-out war without fighting smart.
£255, the official weight for Juan Espino.
255 for Fino. Heavyweight, of course. That's easy. I'm going to fast forward through this a little bit.
Dak Prescott joining us, looking strong. What's your secret?
My new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed, total game changer.
The NBA playoffs are here. Stream the action live with YouTube TV.
You're going to see some new faces on this card because that's how the UFC does it, man. They have like 12 or 15 fights on the card. William Knight is a new face that's trying to make it up the ranks, man, in the light heavyweight division. Very depth accommodating division. We're going to get the Dominic Reyes, Juan Blachowicz fighting for the vacant that was vacated by John Jones. So you're going to have a lot of new faces jumping in now. You know why? Because John Jones is out. So you're going to see a lot of new faces jumping in the light heavyweight division.
£205, the official weight for Connecticut's William Knight.
I just wonder how Knight is going to hold up in the light heavyweight division with all that muscle. That muscles take oxygen, lactic acid, everything. So I'm curious to see how his power resonates with his, inside the cage with his compeers and see what he got, see what his all around game is. I don't get too excited over the size of a guy and all this, expected power. I just want to see what his overall mindset is, cage IQ, how they pretty much go out there and fight in general. Are they smart or are they reactive to what their opponent is giving them? Do they just fight for the just to get by? Just to get that win so they can come back and fight again? Mixed martial arts allow somebody. You look, it forces a lot in this day of time for fighters to be diverse. You have to be diverse. I know you compete in mixed martial arts, but you have to be very diversified in your striking cachet. You sometimes have to be a magician in there. You have to come up with some magic that works. What people thought they was getting is not exactly what they see playing out in the ring. Sometimes you have fighters with wrestling backgrounds. You think it's just going to be a, shoot in, take down, and lay and pray. And then you see a fighter with good takedown defense, jiu-jitsu skills. I like the muddy flats. Mixed martial arts is a very dynamic sport, man. Really forces fighters to improve in all facets of their art, all facets. And you're talking about you have to be in there for 5 minutes a round, 5 minutes per round.
Choosing SCANA as our natural gas provider means no more hibernating.
So I'm trying to fast forward it, y'all. I really want to see how Paulo Costa looks, He's walking around at around light heavyweight. Easy. There go Dominique Reyes, one of the most underrated strikers right now in the sport.
205 pounds, the official weight for Dominic Reyes.
Dominique Reyes only has 6 weeks, man. He got the call. You know, finally John Jones freaking vacated. He got the call. 6 weeks is a very short fight camp. You know, to go in there with a tough opponent such as Juan Blachowicz. And yeah, you know, he should be the one to go in here and get it done. He's very disciplined, man, and you know, maintaining his composure and putting his you know, letting his hands go with his kicks. You know, combining that together. That type of enforcement, man, really keeps his opponent thinking, just like it did John Jones. It really had John Jones thinking a lot about what he should be doing, because John Jones is used to dictating the pace of his fights, whether he, you know, lands that front oblique kick or, you know, the feints that John Jones give you. I mean, he mixes it up, but shit. And when Dominique Reyes was front and center, he pretty much took over the role. And he performed well for the first 3 rounds. I'm trying to get to the main event, people. I'm not waiting around trying to get to Paulo Costa, man, but I don't see it. Is this Paulo Costa? Let me see if this Paulo Costa. Nope, that's not Paulo Costa. Y'all bear with me. I'm just trying to get to the main event. The only reason I didn't do this when it was live because Showtime weigh-ins was going on. I'll tell you what. Give me a minute. I'm just gonna go straight to it. I'm looking up another stream.
Run, smile and go, smile and go.
I'm getting up out of here, and then I'm going to a different screen, so the stream, so you can get the weigh-ins right away, and then I'm done. I'm done with that. I just wanted to see Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya weigh in. Amazing, Paulo Costa is that shredded. Damn. Man, that dude looked like he's 235 on the off season. Jesus. 185 on the first try. Damn. This dude's in phenomenal shape, man. The beast so freaking big doing in between fights, man. Now, of course, he's probably going to balloon up and rehydrate to easy 195. You know what I'm saying?
The undisputed UFC middleweight champion, the last style bender.
Israel Adesanya, he has no problem making weight. I doubt he has to take off his shorts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's not. See? He even has his mask on. He say, shit, I don't have no problem making 185, man. I'm good.
184 pounds.
He has a camera around his neck and he weighed 184. I'm surprised they even let him do that. You don't supposed to have gear and cameras on your neck just so you can get close to the damn limit. That means he weighs less than 184. He's probably around 182 or something like that, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop sharing this, man. That's wild. Believe me, I've been some places where people was making a big ass deal about individuals having extra gear on so they can get close to the limit. You know what I'm saying? That's what we seen right there. Adesanya, he's coming in light. He's coming in more light to the point where he plan on standing on the outside and trying to keep his distance against Paulo Costa and pick him apart. He has the limbs to do it. He's a kickboxer. You know, if he can punish Costa early, you know, with the legs and distance gauge real nice without taking any unnecessary punishment, land his punches. It's a big part of me say I can't see Paulo Costa being hurt, you know, by Israel Adesanya, you know, punching power. But when you combine the punches and kicks together, then that might degrade Costa's cardio a little bit more, because he did have to lose a lot of weight. As you've seen on the scale, Adesanya had a camera around his damn neck and shorts on. So he's around 180, 183? You know what I'm saying? 182 and a half, 183. So just imagine what Costa's going to be. You're looking at, you know, rehydration, 185, 6, give or take, for Adesanya, who walks around, you know, close to his fighting weight, to Paulo Costa, man, who's going to be probably around 195, close to probably the low 200s, potentially. I don't know. Either way it goes, he's going to have to be able to carry that weight efficiently for 5 rounds, 5 minutes each, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you want to come out of there as an undisputed reigning champion, Costa is going to have to fight for 5 rounds. And if that's not the case, he would definitely have to knock out Adesanya, who has proven he can be hurt. I mean, he was knocked out as a kickboxer, and he was dropped as a mixed martial artist inside the UFC. But yeah, you get knocked down, but it's all about how you respond to it. And he responded well, man. So definitely, I can't take that away from him. He did get up and make it happen. But there you have it, people. That's you know, the weigh-ins of the biggest cards is going down this weekend. You know, the Charlo brothers doubleheader, PPV 74.95, and also the UFC PPV. Yeah, you're gonna have to come out the pocket. Me, everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Those of you that's gonna support the fight game correctly without crack streaming it. Yeah, and I'll probably be back on a little bit later. You know, a little bit later, but I just wanted to give y'all an insight as far as the weigh-in goes. So salute. Appreciate everybody who stopped through. Continue to support World Combat Sports.